right, you guys, we are live in effect. That smile on my face is because it's Thursday. And you guys know what time it is when we hit Thursday. We come into the locker room, we share the truth with you, we share that value, those gems to get you to the next level. So we don't hold back. And if you're joining us for the very first time, thank you for joining us. I am your host, Coach Terrence Wood, and the guy that you see to my far right is the one that holds me down every single Thursday on the Locker Room Show. This is my brother in the trenches and the one I go to bat with, none other than Q, the guru. What's going on, Playmaker?
Man, I'm good. I'm about 2 packs of fruit snacks in, so it's a good evening right now. I'm feeling real good.
You still eating that Halloween candy?
Man, no, man. I'm telling you, man, fruit snacks is a way of life, but you better get hip to it, man. I'm trying to tell you.
All right. So there you guys have it. That is Q the Guru. And then you guys, we got a very special guest for us. Every single week we bring in people in the industry, people that have lived this life that many of you guys are trying to embark upon. And we have none other than somebody that I've known for years now. This is somebody that was wrecking shop in the Bay Area coming out of high school, was fortunate enough, you guys, to play at Cal Berkeley, and then has helped mentor so many athletes that have played at the Pac-12 level, other schools, and really knows the game, you guys, as far as not only how to get after some college money, but how to make the most of having your boots on a college campus. So that is none other than Mr. David Watts. How's it going, Big Dave?
Man, it's doing good, man. I'm happy to be on here. I follow your guys' show. One of my favorites was the quarterback show for Kansas State. Michael
Mike Bishop.
Mike Bishop.
Yeah. He was somebody that I was like, whoo, man. I appreciate you guys having me on.
No doubt, man. We're pumped up to have you.
Man.
I see Coach Janorik James joining us. He says, what's going on, Coach? What's going on, Playmaker? And then, of course, the great Eric Foss. He says, here we go. He's ready to go. And then, Jimmy Rucker's going to hold us down. And he says, let's get after it, fellas. So, hey, it's time to get into the show. And this is where, like I said, we bring the trending topics to you guys. But this isn't gossip. This isn't people that are just guessing on these topics. These are people that may have an inside connection. These are people that have been through some of the things we're talking about and want to share it with you live. So the first one, you guys, that we're going to get into is one that is really hot off the presses. It's the Clemson Tigers and, perennial powerhouses, major Power 5 football. But you guys know as well as I do, your school is only going to go as far as your quarterback. And we are DJ Ugalele backers, Uyangalele. Sorry, we've had his dad on. And, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, you guys, to see that the young man is struggling a little bit. So I want to throw it to you guys, and we'll start off with you, Dave. When you think of the level that Clemson's at, where every game there's a lot of money riding on each game. Dabo's probably making 10 mil plus a season. How much time do these college coaches really have to develop these players at this level of football, especially at the quarterback position?
I don't think they have much time at all, especially when it comes down to getting to the major bowls, especially when it comes down to recruiting and things of that nature. Because, Dabo and a team like Clemson, it's all about recruiting. It's all about trying to keep up with the SEC and some of those other teams that are outside of the ACC. So if it's a situation where DJ's not playing well or as well as he should be, they got to win games. You know what I'm saying? I think it's the last 2 weeks he's got pulled. And, quite honestly, I followed DJ since he was in high school, man. He's a hell of a player. I've been thinking I don't know. It might be time for DJ to hit the portal to come to UCLA to be the savior out here in the West Coast. I don't know. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah.
No, that's a good point, man. And
that sounds good.
Hey, DTR is going to be graduating.
Hey,
it's going to be an open spot.
You're joking, but that sounds like a great move right there. I'm just saying.
We'll see.
Well, I'm glad you guys brought this up, and Dave, I know that you do follow a lot of the kids down south and live out there. So, Q, I'll throw it to you. I mean, Dabo has been riding hard with DJ and trying to stay put. If you got the Clemson hat on, is it time to make the change, or are you going to still do right by this young man?
I mean, well, it's one of those things where, sometimes, man, that's what you get paid $10 million for is, you already loaded with 4 and 5 star kids, especially at the quarterback position. And you have to know, you'll know as a coach when it's time to pull the plug and go a different direction. I mean, even in our era, we just had Bo Scafone, and I'm sure he would tell you, anybody on that Texas offense, nobody saw Major Applewhite get, losing his spot to Chris Sims, but it happened. Coach Brown had to go a different direction, and Major had to settle into that backup role. So I don't know if DJ would, settle into a backup role and maybe have an opportunity to, to maybe win his position back. Or would he pull a Jalen Hurts and head out west, and see success, how Jalen Hurts did with Oklahoma? Like I said, I like the idea of him going back out to UCLA. They're going to need a trigger man anyway, which is vital. I actually like that move. So, again, I don't know if you were joking or not, but I actually like that move. Yeah, I love it. I think that'd be a great move for him. And he could come in right now. All he has to do, simplify the playbook and let him play. He's closer to home, and let him do what he does best.
Yeah, sometimes a change of scenery is what these young men need, and we'll see how this one is going to play out, you guys. But it's definitely going to play out because it's too many people with their eyes on this one and money in the balance. So it's going to play out. And like I said, big fans of the Yui Angalale family. Yes. Big Dave, we got your back. But this is business, you guys. So keep that in mind. We'll keep our eyes on this one. We are on to our next topic, and all the topics are down on the bottom ticker, you guys. And we're going to bring it to you live and bring you the truth. And this is a topic that I'm excited to cover because, Dave, before you go pro, and you've done a lot for our company, some kids go the PWO route, the preferred walk-on route. I know that's something that you had success with at Cal and ended up earning a scholarship. There have been other players throughout the country. We're seeing the Georgia Bulldogs rip things up, and Stetson Bennett had to make that move. And we've seen in the past guys like Hunter Renfrow, who's now with the Las Vegas Raiders, have success going the PWO route. So for those that don't know, there are scholarship athletes on a football team, and then there are walk-ons. They're guys who are paying for school, but they have been awarded a roster spot, and then they're banging their way to earn that scholarship. Throwing it to you, Dave, because you did decide to go this route. What would be some of the key tips or things that you would give to a young man that's looking at this particular option?
You better be ready to compete. You better be ready to earn everything. I mean, It's a situation where you come in there, you a PWO, like, you're going to be on scout team. You probably won't travel. You probably won't be able to get dressed out. You won't be able to go to training table, this, that, and the other. Like, it's all about competing. And oftentimes, in terms of the recruiting thing, you're going to have guys coming in fresh recruiting classes that are going to up you on the depth chart just because they're on scholarship. So at the end of the day, if you aren't a dog and if you aren't somebody that's fully committed to fighting and scratching and clawing, PWO should not be for you.
Okay.
Nothing, so you're saying nothing is given. It's all earned. Like that entitlement thing. No, don't come in there with that.
Okay, so there's some real truth for you guys. And like I said, we're going to bring it to you real in the locker room show. Q, not all prefer walk-ons or walk-ons are created equal. When you were at Kansas, what was the difference between the guys you respected and the guys that you didn't that were PWOs?
Oh no, I mean the guys that were PWOs that we had, like I said, it was immediate respect because you're like the fact that you're here knowingly not on scholarship and still here scrapping out here 2-a-days. Like you said, man, in some cases, no training table, this, that, and the third with, with the amenities that come along with being a full scholarship athlete and still be out there banging every day. Me personally, I mean, I walk on God, my respect immediately.
So,
But
so
I
looking
totally
back,
agree.
Dave, looking back, would you do everything the same? Because I know you had left. Was it UC Davis or Poly?
It was I was on scholarship at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo,
Yeah.
and full ride, this, that, and the other, and I just wasn't happy there, and I said, you know what, let me walk on to Cal. And when I tell you, I went from the penthouse at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo to the outhouse at UC Berkeley in terms of getting this and not getting it. It's and you gotta fight, like, and you just gotta work harder than everybody else. Like, it's something that I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily realize, that like nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. You could be there for 4 years, 5 years. Whoop, here comes somebody from the transfer portal taking your spot, taking your position. Yeah. It's a gamble, for a lot of people. So I oftentimes tell young people it's like, it's a gamble to take that PWO and to really consider there could be some Division II, Division III NAIA opportunities. You got to be ready to really make a decision that's the best fit for you.
Yeah.
No, that's great advice right there. And, not every school is going to treat their PWOs the same either. Right. So you got to evaluate these things when you're looking at these decisions. Yeah. This isn't to deter you or discourage you, because, when I went to the University of Colorado, we had 2 safeties, Ryan Sutter and Ryan Black, who were originally walk-ons and were all conference and ended up getting drafted. So, there is a route, but it's not for everybody, like Dave said. So appreciate you being honest with that, Big Dave. On to our next topic, you guys. And this is something that caught my attention, because whenever we talk about somebody's money and somebody potentially losing millions, I'm going to bring it into the locker room and see what the fellas think. So Brandon Cooks, actually Bay Area native, fast receivers, played on a few teams, Saints, Rams, almost, and I don't know if this is still in the balance, but was close to losing $18 million of what was supposed to be fully guaranteed money. He wanted to be traded because Houston's having some struggles and he's getting a little long in the tooth. So he wants to be on a winning team. And unfortunately, they didn't find any suitors, you guys. So he got pissed off and said, I'm not coming to practice. But maybe Brandon didn't read the contract good enough. That was one of the key clauses, was you cannot miss practices without any excuses, without the team knowing, or else you could lose this money. So obviously this gets back to controlling some emotions. Q, there's a lot of athletes that watch this show, parents of athletes. Sometimes the parents have trouble controlling emotions. Did you ever have a situation where you felt like a coach really was putting your back against the wall? And do you feel like there's anything you could say to these young men to help them control emotions?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's always going to be, especially, T, because we always talk all the time, at least on the collegiate level for sure, where it's a coach that, that didn't recruit you, or, if you're playing for a coach in the league that didn't draft you, you might be, Brandon Cook's a good player, but, maybe now that he's maybe considered in some cases a fringe guy, but, emotions are always going to affect your life, and negatively, man, if you have a major decision that you need to make, really just period. I recommend, which really we probably didn't utilize, man, but even if you have to go to the extent, especially as a professional, using a sports psychologist if you need to, but keeping your emotions under control will help you in business. It'll help you in life, and it'll definitely help you as a, a high school collegiate and professional athlete for sure.
That's big right there. And I mean, we've never had 18 mil on the line, Dave, but I'm sure you just mentioned, I'm sure you were pissed off when they recruit a kid and you're better than him and they're putting him ahead of you at Cal. How were you able to manage your emotions where maybe you were treated unfairly?
Man, you know what, man? I've always been the kind of person that's just like, having that walk-on chip on a shoulder. I don't think it ever got to the point where it was something that I felt like I was owed. It was just something I was just going to try to work harder than the next person, whatever, man. I mean, shout out to my man B Cooks, Pride of Stockton 209. It's just something, man. I just think he needs to realize this is a business, and I think he's probably in year 6 or 7. And for him to go out like this, hopefully, he got his stuff together, and because it's real easy to get blackballed in the NFL as somebody, and it's very, very important that in your later years you do everything you can as a team guy, this, that, and the other, because you don't want to have that label. Because if you're on the fringe and folks and GMs are saying, hey, don't mess with him,
that's
it's
it
not
for you.
It's that's it for your career. So I just hope that there's somebody, his agent, somebody who's his mentor, somebody who's a vet in the locker room is saying, you know what, get your money, do what you got to do, and you'll handle the transition at the end of the season, not during the season. Get your money, young man, because 18 million could go a whole long way in helping a lot of disadvantaged people in the city of Stockton. Get your money.
There you go. There you go. So sometimes it's bigger than us. I see Mondo on, and this is somebody that doesn't always feel good about his coaches, but he's handled it like a pro, a little bit better than our man Cooks. And I see Mama Victoria. She said, I just jumped on. I'm rolling with y'all. And then Miss Cindy Hernandez, thank you for the Hall of Fame. Got inducted into the High School Hall of Fame in my school. So, yes, thank you for that as well. So, great advice, you guys, for these athletes, because very few of us get to go through a career and never feel a certain way about a coach or a certain, even Reggie Bush probably on his way out was feeling, hey, I'm not getting my just due. So that's some good advice, and you guys got to control your emotions out there. We're on to our next topic, you guys, and the industry doesn't stop. The industry doesn't stop giving us content to talk to you guys about. But like I said, we want to teach through it too. The Colts, you guys, have decided to let their coach go, struggling, and have hired an intern coach. The interesting thing, if you have not heard the story, is that the interim coach has never coached at the college level or the professional level. So you don't see this usually in the professional world, let alone with a $1 billion company, let alone at the NFL level, where there's a new NFL head coach, you guys, who has no NFL coaching experience. Now, just Saturday, I think he was an ESPN analyst when he got the call. This isn't totally out the blue. He was Indianapolis Colts great, a center with the Peyton Manning days. And of course, he has a relationship with the owner, Jim Irsay. But I want to throw this to you guys, because an owner can do what he wants to do, Q. And it's his money, Dave, but there is usually a protocol, especially at this level. There is a level of having to do right by people, and I want to ask you, Q, to start off. Is this a thumbs up, owner do what he want to do, or is this a little negligence in your mind?
I mean, I wouldn't call it so much negligence. It's the question is, how many people did he pass up to come to this decision? We get, if you're the owner, you call the shots. You're the one that, with your name on the checks for the front office all the way down to the players, but it's about how many legitimate, qualified, battle-tested coaches did he pass up to hire Saturday. You see what I mean? And I get, maybe, I don't know if he felt like because of his accomplishments with Peyton and them getting a ring, or whatnot, for the organization, like he's a guy that he owes something to. I have no idea.
But it's some money or
something. But it's one of those things where every now and then, guys, going the unorthodox route works. So we'll have to see.
Good point. What's your thoughts, Dave? I mean, does this happen maybe even at the college level, where an athletic director is saying, hey, I'm feeling this Pop Warner coach, and now, come coach Tennessee.
I've actually heard it happen at the collegiate level with some of those high school coaches in Texas where, they sort of, bypass the ranks and stuff like that. But I'm probably the only Colts fan on this call. And I think
Yeah, you
this.
definitely don't. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Hey, I've been a
100%.
Colts fan since Dickerson, baby. That's my guy. But I'll say this. I think Irsay intended him to have him as a placeholder. I think Irsay's smart enough to know that, like, he's somebody that knows the organization, that's tapped in. But what a lot of people don't realize is I think Irsay made this call because he knew Saturday had the connections and had the pull to get in Peyton Manning's ear. Because I think the GM going to be gone in a couple of weeks, and I think Peyton Manning going to be the GM. Or
really?
He's going to be in the organization. Hey,
a little hot
off the press.
Hey, truth be told, I've heard from a little birdie that Peyton Manning's family is going to be with the Saturday family on Thanksgiving, having Thanksgiving dinner. So I'm just saying it might be something that was very calculated. I really do think it's a placeholder. I think they're going to be looking for, somebody to come in there, but I think this was something where they didn't want to, ruffle any feathers, and they kind of felt like it was going to be shocking, so to speak, but I think it was worth it to them because I think Saturday is going to be, be able to bring some of the family back into the organization.
I see.
Wow. Well, I love that approach.
Hey,
and it's the locker room. You get it first.
And you do the math. If he's a GM with the Colts, they only got to wait, 2-3 years for Arch to come through and be, just same as they did with Eli. The Mannings, they tell people where they gonna go.
It's
it don't
a mafia.
Even matter where you
it's
get drafted. Like, no,
we're
not going there. We going here.
And when we got Coach Foss weighing in, he says former UNC Tar Heel coach was straight out of high school. So it does happen, but usually, NFL, no college or pro. There's some pro coaches that are a little hurt over that one. But hey, if you the man cutting the checks, like you say, you can do what you want to do. And this is a great example for you young athletes, relationships. Just Saturday got a good relationship with Jim Irsay. So, hey, don't discount that. So we'll keep our eye on that. And you might have got some breaking news if you see the Peyton Manning family hanging around the Colts from Big Dave here. So let's go on to our next topic, you guys. And once again, thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Coach Terrence Wood. We got Q, the guru, to the far right with the Rock Chalk Jayhawk hat. And then in the middle, we got the Cal Bear alum, and that is David Watts. So let's go to our next topic, you guys. And man, I spent 5 years at the University of Colorado and felt like I was getting a little old. But, now we got the new category because of COVID, and it is the super seniors. We got super seniors. Adrian Martinez, who used to be the Nebraska quarterback, is now a super senior at Kansas State. And then we've got, of course, the aforementioned Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who is a super senior. And you guys, we are seeing big-time success on and off the field, NIL, everything from these super seniors. And it really got me thinking, if the university is supposed to be a higher level of education, if we're supposed to be putting these young men in a better situation when they leave our school, our football program, and we're seeing success with these older kids, just 1 year older, on and off the field, is the 5 years you can stay here, 4 years you can play? Is that an old model? Do we maybe need to give these kids one more year? Or is this something that you think phenomenon and they should do away with? Dave, what's your thoughts on the super senior?
I mean, I just think it's all a product of COVID, to be honest with you. I think if we didn't have COVID in future years, I don't think cats are going to be having that extra 6 year. I think for the biggest thing that not a lot of people are talking about is the fact that for a lot of these cats to stay a 5th and 6th year, this offers them an opportunity to not only get an undergraduate degree, but also a graduate degree with debt free. That is phenomenal. So I think for some of these young men who are in this type of situation, they should be doing everything that they can to get that master's degree, because at the end of the day, in today's job climate all over the country, in order to separate yourself from a lot of other job applicants, you got to have that master's degree, because the bachelor's degree is becoming the new norm. Straight up and down. It's coming the new norm. So it's important for them to take advantage of it, to obviously to have it in the best situation possible where they can play and be a part of the community and this, that, and the other. I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of these young people.
All right.
Q, talk to me. I mean, let's say, I don't know who you played your senior game, your last game at KU, but let's say that all of a sudden after that game, they said, hey, you know what? We found another year eligibility for you. What would another year of eligibility at Kansas look like for you on and off the field?
Well, it kind of too. It depends, off the field as far as education. I agree with you 100%. On the field, it might be a different story, because again, like I said, if you're playing for a coach that you already, that you all are having friction, then that your extra year of eligibility really is irrelevant, to be honest with you, unless you're going to hit the portal or be able to take that year and go elsewhere, wherever you want to get an opportunity. So it really kind of depends on the situation with the coach, the school, the program, where you are. If you're a returning starter, you have a great relationship, with your coach, something of that nature, fine. And you can, on top of that, get your master's as well, and all that lines up, then okay, great. Are you trying to get your opportunity in the league? So it's like, could that last year that you take, could that be a risk which you end up getting injured and not go ahead and leave it? So it's a lot of factors that you'd have to look at taking that extra year.
Good point right there. So, hey, there's some things that, these kids are taking advantage of, but there's also some food for thought right there from the fellas. We are on to our next section of the show, you guys, and we'll be winding down here shortly. Thank you for riding with us. But this is one of our fan favorite sections of the show. This is the lightning round, and we've got our lightning sounder right there. And if you're joining us for the first time, this is definitely one of the sections of the show that people enjoy. This is our version, you guys, a word association, where we get to ask our guests questions and hear what's on their mind, unfiltered. The first thing is what we want. Are they going to lose if they don't hurry up? And we get to get it from them in 60 seconds. So they got 60 seconds to give us the ins and outs of what they're thinking. So I got my list, and I do know this gentleman, so I've thrown in some things that should be a little bit close to home. But Dave, you got 60 seconds, man, and our number is 13. 13. So if you can get 13 or higher, you're in the running, man, for a dinner and a hotel stay on the Locker Room Show. So you ready to roll, brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So let's get the stopwatch queued up and see what Dave got for us. Once again, first thing, keep it PG. I know you got a daughter that's super smart, so we're going to keep it PG-13 on here, and we're going to rock and roll. So I'm not going to cheat you. We got the stopwatch at 0. I've been accused of cheating in the past, but we are about to go. So number 1, you get 1 for a delay. So we'll give you 1 for a technical delay. Whatever you get, we'll add 1 to it at the end. So number 1, first thing from your mind, St. Francis High School, go.
CCS champion.
Number 2, Steve Mariucci.
Cal Bears coach 1 year.
Bill Walsh.
One of the greatest football coaches in NFL history, run and shoot.
Favorite Bay Area restaurant?
Round Table Pizza, baby.
Delta O'Neal.
Man, best player I've ever seen.
Marshawn Lynch.
Woo! Oakland Tech, Hyphy, Cal, number 10, the greatest Cal running back of all time.
Golden Gate Bridge or Bay Bridge?
Bay Bridge.
Favorite soup?
Broccoli cheddar soup, Panera.
Coming to America 1 or 2?
1. 2 was whack.
Justin Wilcox, 51 seconds.
That boy rolling.
Now head coach, former Oregon linebacker. Dad was a Hall of Famer, NFL, 49ers.
Time.
He might have got that one.
Time. He
might
was
have got
rolling
it.
right there. Now I'm
He might
gonna
have
give you
got
my
it.
last one. I'm gonna give you my last one, even though you didn't get to it. Stevie Wonder or Luther Vandross?
Stevie
All
all
right,
day.
there you go.
Right.
There you go. So let's get back and
He
count them
might have
up
got it.
because he was rolling. And our number, ladies and gentlemen, is 13. But keep in mind, he only has to get 12 to tie 13 because we're gonna give him one. So, all right, we're gonna revisit a couple of these too. We got St. Francis High School 1, we got Mariucci 2, 3, Bill 4, 5, Delta O'Neill 6, Marshawn Lynch, got the Bridge 7, Soup 8. 9 coming to America, Justin Wilcox 10, and then we're giving him one for the road, you guys. So you got to 11. You were rolling. Rolling. We got to 11 on that. So
I gave you, on some of them, I gave you too much detail.
Gave me. I hit a chord with you. The Delta O'Neill. You added the Panera Bread in there. It took a couple seconds. And then you gave some love to Justin Wilcox.
Yes, indeed.
And I didn't know how you was gonna throw that one. So he says Delta O'Neill, best player you've ever played against
Delta
or
was
played
nice,
with.
huh? Yeah.
For those don't even know, Delta was an
Talk to
offensive
him.
player, and he played running back. And his junior year in spring ball, they decided to move him to corner. Spring ball, where he had never played corner except in high school. And he became an All-American at corner, led the Pac-10 at the time with picks.
First corner drafted, right?
It might have been. And I'm not even mentioning his special team stuff like Boog. Boog was gifted, man. He was gifted, and he only played college corner for one season.
Yeah.
One season.
Yeah, he's nice, man.
I think
you don't
he had
do
a
that.
four interception game for the Broncos.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think he had a 4 interception game. Obviously Bay Area native. Shout out Delta and seen him do his thing from high school on. He said he's going all the restaurants in the Bay. He said he's going with the round table, huh?
Man, being in LA, they don't have a lot of them. I miss it. My favorite pizza, pepperoni pizza. I was gonna say crustaceans out there in the city, but you know what? Hey, I gotta go with round table.
Yeah, and crustaceans got the crabs, the good crab, you guys, but they're not doing it like they used to. So I'll go with you on that one. We'll give it. He was a beast in Denver. Yep, Coach Falls right there. And then we got D Gardner in the house. What's going on, big time? That's a former Cal Bear, Skyline Titan, and obviously gonna hold it down for Dave Watts. So appreciate it, man. And we're gonna go on to our last section of the show. If you do have a question, I know it may be some people that know Dave personally, but so keep the questions cool. But if you do have a question for Dave, young athlete, parent, put it in the chat. This is a man, once again, that has his master, that went to Cal Berkeley, that walked on and did it the hard way, but figured it out. He's an amazing entrepreneur, author, business owner, so there's a lot of knowledge you guys are getting tonight. Dave, I got a question for you, man, because I know you deal with a lot of student athletes. You worked at some amazing high schools, and I know you've dealt with a lot of parents too. What is maybe one of the blind spots, man, that these parents are? I know they see the uniforms. I know they see the degree that the kid could have at this school, but during a recruiting process where things could get emotional, there's money placed on the table, academically, athletically. What is a blind spot that you see with some of these parents when they're going through the process with their kid?
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things, it might not relate to recruiting, but I think one of the biggest things of a blind spot that parents really, really need to do a better job is they overemphasize the importance of athletics and underemphasize the importance of academics. So when they're spending all the money on camps and clinics and showcases and AAU and this, that, and the other, and they're showing up to all the games, but not as much being present on the academic side, I think it only sends the message to the young people that sports are more important. So at the end of the day, I feel like if our parents do a better job of basically, having the emphasis be sort of 50-50, then a child won't necessarily grow up thinking like, man, my parents are placing a lot more attention on sports than they are school, then I need to do, I think it's important that it's got to be 50-50, or academics are a little bit more important.
Right.
What did you feel when you went to Cal as far as the academic support? Was it kind of sink or swim, or did you feel like that the football players really had the support that they needed?
For me personally, as a graduate of St. Francis, I felt like I was prepared. But when seeing a lot of other guys that are coming from public schools and this, that, and other, like, the biggest thing is the help is there. You just gotta be man or woman enough to ask for it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when you get it, when you get the help, you got to be willing to do what people are asking you to do. So I think it's oftentimes like, having that pride, too much pride. You don't want to ask, you dig yourself in a hole that's too big to get out of. I just think it's important for you to be able to know who to ask, know how to ask it, and sort of have that kind of mindset. You don't know everything. Learn from other people's mistakes, because when you learn from their mistakes, it's free. When you make your mistakes and you learn, it's a cost, because you have to, you lost something, whatever. So it's important to learn and ask for help.
I love that. I love it. It's free when you learn from their mistakes.
Yes.
I love that. Q, you went from East St. Louis, man, to Lawrence, Kansas. Did you feel like they had your back academically, or did you feel like you had to really fight on that side of things?
No, it's not so much that I personally didn't have to fight as a student, but it's guys that I know on my team and guys that I play with in high school, whether my squad or other area schools back in St. Louis that that ended up, this is he's saying, because of the pride issue or whatever, and didn't utilize tutors or whatever assistance that they provided for you as a player. Man, I'll tell you, young guys, you do not want to be the kid, man, that ends up academically ineligible and you have to watch everybody else ball from the sideline, man. I never had the experience, and thank goodness, and I know you fellas didn't, but I know people that have, and that's gut-wrenching, man. And that's somewhere that you don't want to be, because that could have been alleviated with you setting your pride aside and utilizing what they have for you as far as help, man. You not want to be academically ineligible.
And then the other thing, T, that I really wanted to go really quick is, it's important that when you go to these colleges, to get in a major that's a major that you're going to be able to have employment with. I think it's a lot of these colleges all across the country, they do this thing called academic herding, where they will put you in majors that'll keep you eligible. But at the end of the day, it's going to be hard for you to get a job with a major that's very limited. So I think it's important to do your homework, right? Don't always go for the easy major, because a lot of the times those easy majors aren't majors where you're going to be able to get a good job after graduation. Do your homework. Find out what is what, but it's important. Easy is not always best in the long run. Very important.
Right.
Wow, that's a great point, you guys. Right. Not all majors are created equal. Just because you're at Notre Dame or you're at a Cal Berkeley, like Dave said, don't think that somebody's just going to hire you nowadays just because you went there and you don't have, the proper major. So let's see what Jimmy says. We still got to chop it up about Kansas instead of LSU, as you guys know. Q went to Kansas,
Jimmy. We're talking
could have went to LSU, so that's a whole nother locker room show, Big Jimmy. But hey, you guys, I know you got big time value added tonight. That's why I wanted to have Dave on. We're gonna bring him back on, but phenomenal person, like I said, a wealth. A treasure trove of knowledge. So Dave, thank you for coming on, man, especially short notice, dude, and keep up the great work. We watching.
Appreciate you guys, man. Hey, have a good holiday.
Definitely. You as well, man.
Hey, where can people reach out to you? Where's a good spot? Social media, website, where's a good spot?
IG at David Watts Consulting. TikTok at David Watts Consulting. YouTube at David Watts Consulting. Twitter at DWC Info.
Okay.
There you go.
That'll
There you
work.
go. So,
That'll
hey,
work.
you guys bookmark
You guys
that
reach out
and
to
make
him.
sure you get out with Dave because he's got, like I said, this man got manuals, blueprints, everything to help you guys be on track. So, Dave, hey, man, you and your beautiful family, we'll see you, brother.
Thank you. Take
All
care.
right, my
Pete.
man. All right.
All right, you guys. So, hey, there you guys have it. That is the great David Watts. Like I said, great player, but then transitions so well, Q, off the field to the point where he's got blueprints for these young student athletes, man, and cranking them out. He's living out in SoCal, dealing with a lot of those modern day kids, Bosco kids, all sport, and doing his thing. So thank you guys for joining us. Great Jimmy Record says great advice. And I know you got your young one coming up. So that's what we want to do, you guys. Make sure that you share the show. Share the show. Make sure you hit the like button. We want to make sure that all of this great content, all of these amazing guests that we've already brought to you and that we're going to bring you, get to as many people as possible. So like the show, hit that thumbs up button. Make sure that you take the link and share it, especially with any players, any coaches, any parents out there that are deep in this football industry and deep in this game. So we appreciate you guys for riding with us, whether it was live or whether you're catching the recording. But like we said, make sure you hit that like button and share the show. Q, these boys are getting after it, man. So what's your thoughts on the show and what they got to do?
Well, man, hey, we got to make plays. But I tell you what, though, one thing you did leave out, Coach, man, we got our 50th episode coming up, man. Y'all better tune in next week. Hey, hit the button. It's our 50th episode.
Number 50.
Hit the button. It's 50, man.
50.
That was quick,
50.
wasn't it? Just
we
like
rolling
that.
deep.
Wasn't it just, yeah.
We rolling deep. We going G
bam.
unit on y'all. So 50. We hitting 50 years old on the episodes next week. So come in. We working on some very special guests. And we going to bring this thing. we going to build this community with y'all. You were the first ones to find us. Thank you for rolling with us. But help us build this community because it's going to be special. So 50, join us next week. We're going live as always. Jimmy says, wow, on the 50. I think he was episode 1. Episode right. He was messing up, Jimmy. So thank you for rolling with us. But hey, you guys have an amazing weekend. We love y'all. Stay safe. And for all of those young superstars out there, what do they got to do, Q?
Y'all better make plays.
Y'all better make plays. We'll see y'all at the top.